Hello.
Hello.
Sir. Hello. Hello.
आवाज येत आहे सर, बोला ना. आवाज येत आहे.
आवाज येतोय का सर?
हो हो येत आहे.
हाजी सर, गुड आफ्टरनून सर.
इंट्रोडक्शन करायचंय का सर? इंट्रोडक्शन. हॅलो.
अरे अटेंडन्स हो द्या ना पहिले, अटेंडन्स.
ओके ओके.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Hello.
Doctor.
Good afternoon, sir.
My roll number is 13, sir. My roll number is 13.
Hello.
13.
So, good morning. Sorry. Good afternoon, all participants.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
sir. My roll number 41. Good afternoon, sir. My roll number is 2, Milind Wag.
Just 2 minutes, sir. I will start.
Good afternoon, sir.
Just 2 minutes. I will
In
start.
proper roll number.
I call to roll.
हाजरी
I
सुरू
call-
केली नाही, कशाला हे करता?
I call to rolls. Roll number 1. Roll number 1. Roll number 2.
Yes,
এটা
sir.
দেখতে হয়েছে নাকি?
Roll number 3.
Yes, sir.
4.
দেখছে বাবা, এটা ওখানে যাব না, নাই দেখছে?
जिस पार्टिसिपेंट का माइक चालू प्लीज बंद कीजिए. अटेंडेंस के टाइम सिर्फ जो नंबर अनाउंस करता हुए पार्टिसिपेंट अनम्यूट करके आप प्रेजेंट ही लगाएंगे. रोल नंबर 4. रोल नंबर 5.
Yes, sir.
रोल नंबर 6. 7.
Present, sir.
Roll number 6, sir. Sir, roll number 6, sir.
Yes. 7.
Roll number
Yes,
Roll
7.
number 7, sir.
Roll number 8.
Yes, sir.
Roll number 9.
Yes, sir. Roll number
Roll
9,
number
sir.
9.
9, yes, sir.
10. 11.
Yes, sir.
12.
प्रेजेंट सर.
13.
Yes, sir.
14.
Yes, present.
15.
Yes, sir.
16. 16. 17.
Yes, sir. 17 present.
18.
Yes, sir. Present, sir.
19. 20.
Yes, sir. Present.
21.
Yes, sir. Present.
22. 23. 24.
23, sir. 23%.
24. 25. 26. 26, 27, 28,
Yes, sir.
29,
28,
29, 30, 31, 31, 32,
Yes, sir.
33, 33, 34, 34, 35,
Yes, sir. Present 35.
36,
Present, sir.
37,
Yes, sir.
38, 39,
Yes, sir.
40, 41,
Yes, sir.
40 present, sir.
42,
Present, sir.
43,
Yes, sir. Present, sir.
44,
Present, sir.
45,
Present, sir. Present, sir.
46,
Present, sir.
47, 47, 48,
Yes, sir.
49, 50,
Hello.
sir. 50%, sir.
51,
Present, sir.
52,
Present, sir.
53,
Yes, sir. Present.
54,
Yes,
Hello.
54, 50, 55,
Yes, sir. Present, sir.
56,
Present, sir. 56.
57, 57, 58, 58,
Present, sir.
59,
59. माझा नंबर येऊन गेला की
59, 60, 61,
प्रेझेंट सर प्रेझेंट हॅलो
62,
Yes, sir.
63,
Present, sir.
63,
Present, sir. 63 present.
64,
Yes, sir. Present, sir.
65,
हॅलो
66,
येस सर
67,
प्रेझेंट सर
68,
Present, sir.
69,
प्रेझेंट सर
70,
प्रेझेंट सर
71, 71, 72, 73, 74, 74, 75.
Present. 75 present.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
सर 30 नंबर प्रेझेंट सर 30 नंबर
सब पार्टिसिपेंट माइक म्यूट कीजिए आप आपका रोल नंबर रिनेम कीजिए मैं काउंट कर लेता हूँ
30 सर
Roll number 2.
चैट बॉक्स में डाला है सर प्रेजेंट 4 नंबर
Sir, 59 present, sir.
ओके ओके
Roll number 34 is present, sir.
आप सभी सब पार्टिसिपेंट्स आपका जो पार्टिसिपेंट रोल नंबर है वहां पर डालिए मैं काउंट कर लेता हूँ ओके जैसे पार्टिसिपेंट में डाला है 56 50 40 44 आपका रोल नंबर डालिए मुझे आसानी जाती है आपको अटेंडेंस लगाने के लिए
Hello, sir.
4 नंबर डाला है सर
Hello. हेलो सर सर सुबह का मॉर्निंग का सेशन का मेरा प्रेजेंट ही रह गया था 10 मिनट बाद में ज्वाइन किया था
सर रोल नंबर 7
सभी पार्टिसिपेंट अपना माइक म्यूट कीजिए कोर्स कोऑर्डिनेटर
अमोल
ज्वाइन
सर
हो चुके हैं
अमोल सर रोल नंबर 7 सर रोल नंबर 7
सगळ्यांनी
please,
आपले माइक बंद करा कोर्स कोऑर्डिनेटर जॉईन झालेले आहेत ते काही
सर अमोल सर रोल नंबर 7
I am audible.
यस सर
Yeah, yeah. So Professor Muruganandan sir, doctor has joined.
नो सर जस्ट आई विल चेक
Okay, you check it. Just I will ring him.
नो सर
Yet he has not joined. He told me that I am joining. So just I will call him. Okay. So in morning session, one session is already over. Dear participants, So we are all learned that Professor Upendra Kulkarni. So he has tried his best level to show you the photographs also and this contribution what we have made. So I hope that everyone has enjoyed it. Okay. And Amol, तुम्ही हे केले का रे?
हाँ सर.
ते रिपोर्ट रेटिंग कोण करणार हे करणार रोल नंबर
येस येस सर. राजू शेख सरांना बनवले ते कने अनाउन्समेंट
आता
करतो.
मुरुगानंदन
Hello, sir.
सरांचं कोण करणार आहे?
हॅलो
हॅलो सर,
हॅलो
या.
सर.
मी बोलतोय सर. मिलिंद वाघ रोल
बरं.
नंबर 2.
ओके गुड. पण आता काय करायचं सर?
Introduction.
त्यांचे इंट्रोडक्शन आपण दिलेले तुम्हाला सेंड केलेले. व्यवस्थित बोला.
हो,
मी
हो.
त्यांना एकदा फोन लावतो, आपण जॉईन करूया है ना. आजच्या सकाळच्या
मी आहे
session
सर.
मधला काही
रोल नंबर 2 मिलिंद वाघ.
या आय गॉट इट.
सर रोल नंबर 19 सर 19.
हॅलो सर. हॅलो. हॅलो.
Amol sir, roll number 7.
राजू शेख सर, रोल नंबर आई थिंक 6
हाँ
सर.
यस 4 नंबर.
यस सर.
हाँ,
रोल
yes,
नंबर 4 सर.
रोल
आपको
नंबर
क्या
2 सर.
जस्ट
रोल नंबर 2.
हा सर 2 मिनिटं मी सरांना एक नोटीस द्यायची.
बोल रे.
तुम्ही काय करायचं जे पार्टिसिपंट आहेत ज्यांना बायोडेटा किंवा वोट ऑफ घ्यायचं त्यांना अगोदर इंटिमेशन
गुड
करा.
आफ्टरनून, वी आर वेटिंग यू प्लीज जॉईन.
हॅलो सर. हॅलो.
माय
हो सर, पण बायोडेटा आला नाही माझ्याकडे कुठलाच मेल वगैरे.
नाही, मी इंट्रोडक्शन करणार आहे सरांचं. सर आलंय माझ्याकडे डाटा.
सर ग्रुप मध्ये टाकलाय. ग्रुप
हो,
मध्ये
2 नंबर करणार आहे सर. 2 नंबर.
यस
अरे झालेले ते तुम्हाला सांगितलेले अमोलने की तुम्ही त्याच्यावर टाका, ते अटेंडन्स नोट करून घेईल. त्याची काही चिंता करू नका, नोट करून जाईल.
काय
ऑलरेडी विल एक्सपिरियन्स इज देअर. तुम्ही त्याच्यावर नंबर टाकला, कधी कधी होऊ शकतो टेक्निकली प्रॉब्लेम, तर तुम्ही तिथं अटेंडन्स टाकलं की अमोल ते रेकॉर्ड करेल है ना. आणि अमोल,
यस सर.
प्रोफेसर मुरुगानंदन इज ऑनलाइन. ही टोल्ड दॅट जस्ट गिव्ह मी 3 minutes, आय विल जॉईन है ना.
यस सर. ओके.
तर मीन वाईल
Hello, sir.
पार्टिसिपेंटला काही चर्चा आपला करायची असेल तर करून घ्या. 3 मिनिटात ते जॉईन
Sir.
करून
हो हो.
हा.
सर मी इंट्रोडक्शन करणार आहे.
हो
रोल
yes,
नंबर 2 यस तुम्हीच
रोल
करणार आहे
नंबर 2.
सर.
रोल नंबर 2.
yes,
Yes,
roll number
sir.
2.
आम्ही तुम्हाला कळवतो 2 नंबर.
हॅलो
Okay,
अमोल सर. हॅलो
मिलिंद वाघ सर.
आणि
हॅलो अमोल
सकाळच्या सर मी काय म्हणतो, ते जॉईन होईपर्यंत तुम्हाला सकाळच्या गोष्टी ज्या लेक्चर झालेले आहेत त्याच्यावर काय छोटी-मोठी चर्चा काय असेल तर करू शकता. बिकॉज वी आर ऑल टीचर्स ऑन द बोर्ड.
हॅलो.
हा या
हॅलो अमोल सर.
हा बोलिये सर.
हा सर, सकाळच्या मॉर्निंग सेशनची प्रेझेंटी माझी राहिली होती पेंडिंग.
हो सर, मी
एक 10
घेतली
मिनिट.
काउंट करून काय हरकत
हो
नाही.
थँक्यू.
रोल नंबर 4. सर तुम्ही काय
2
करायचं?
सर.
हा
येस सर, रोल नंबर 4.
येस
रोल
येस
नंबर 4.
सर तुम्ही काय करायचंय, तुम्ही कमिटी मेंबर आहात, तुम्ही सरांकडून
हा.
बायोडेटा सर करता शेअर, तुम्ही फक्त
हा.
तो ग्रुपमध्ये शेअर करायचा आहे.
हा.
बंडलला सर.
हा
सर राजू शेख सरांना कधी तुम्ही सर बायोडेटा देत जा, म्हणजे ते सफिशियंट सगळ्यांना सांगतील त्यांचा रोल नंबर असेल.
तर मला नंबर आणि ते झालं पाहिजे मग त्यांना
सर
टाकून
राजू शेख सर सरांना
हो,
सरांसोबत
मी
कॉन्टॅक्ट
हाय करतो, त्यांचा सेव्ह केलाय व्हॉट्सअपला, हाय
Yes,
करतो
yes.
त्याच्यावर.
म्हणजे
Sir,
मिस
मला
अंडरस्टँडिंग
दिलेलं
होणार
आहे
नाही पार्टिसांसोबत.
हो हो.
So you are the team
Hello,
leader
sir.
for the Raju Sheikh.
येस सर.
Good. You are from
गव्हर्नमेंट कॉलेज छत्रपती संभाजीनगर.
Aurangabad, Chhatrapati Sambhaji
औरंगाबाद, छत्रपती औरंगाबाद.
Looking into your face, I can identify. Sometime we have came across, but still I don't know. Okay. आप एक बार
Yes, yes,
मिलिए
so
तो
many
दूसरा
times.
सोचा है. Nice.
Hello.
या सर.
हॅलो सर.
हाँ.
Hello, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, roll number 28.
Okay, fine. नहीं, amount please note down. 28.
नहीं ना
क्योंकि माइक खराब था
एक
सर
सेकंड
रोल नंबर 60 एक बार कंफर्म कर लो ना 60 रोल नंबर
ते मध्ये काय झालं
Participants.
लंचमध्ये
सभी
नमक,
पार्टिसिपेंट को एक
जेवण,
अनाउंसमेंट है अभी आप रोल नंबर डाल के ज्वाइन कीजिए क्योंकि आपकी प्रेजेंटी मिस होती है तो काउंट कर लेता हूँ। ओके, तो आपका नाम नहीं डालना, जैसा पूजा बराड़े मैम ने डाला आपका रोल नंबर डालेंगे तो आप
डाला है
रोल
सर
नंबर
रोल
से
नंबर
ज्वाइन। मैम आपका पार्टिसिपेंट में आपका नाम दिख रहा है, आप रोल नंबर डालिए वहां पर।
सर रोल नंबर 3 आउट ऑफ
डाला
10
है सर
करेगा
28
अमोल,
सर रोल नंबर 3 7 सर.
अमोल,
यस सर,
रोल नंबर तर टाकू द्या, ते नाव पण राहू द्या, दोन्ही राहू द्या आपल्याकडे.
यस सर, यस।
हेलो सर
अमोल सर रोल नंबर 7 सर.
He already he has
हेलो सर रोल
instructed
नंबर
you,
61
all dear participant. Amol is already instructed you. Just you keep your roll number there and right now we will download your answer, your attendance. No worry about that. Okay, no worries.
क्या बोले? किससे बात हुई? क्या बोले?
हेलो सर।
रोल नंबर 3 पूजा बराड़े मैम, राजू शेख सर।
सर रोल नंबर 3 आउट ऑफ 10 करेगा।
रोल नंबर 4
सर रोल नंबर 3 आउट ऑफ 10 करेगा।
रोल नंबर 2।
बायोडेटा रीडिंग
Yes, yes. I am ready,
रोल
sir.
नंबर हाँ ओके
Shall I start?
या यस ओके
Start करो सर। हेलो।
अर्सी चालू ऑनलाइन
यस सर, यू आर ऑडिबल।
Yes, sir. Start करू का सर?
या सुरू करा सरांचं जॉईन।
ते झालं का ते केलं काय
I am Dr. Milind Wag,
भेट
Head Department of Chemistry.
वाघ सर अनम्यूट करा, आपला माइक म्यूट झाला आहे।
हेलो।
हा सर,
हेलो।
सरांचा परिचय पत्र तुम्हाला वाचायचं आहे।
हो 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 वाचू?
यस, सुरू करा।
I am a Dr. Milind Wag, Arts, Commerce and Science College, Kalwan, Nasik. Good afternoon to one and all. In today's third session, it is my pleasure to introduce our guest, Dr. M. Muruganandan. Dr. Muruganandan is a Fulbright scholar working as a principal scientist and presently heading the research, prioritizing, monitoring, evaluation, and knowledge management unit of ICR, Dehradun, India. He has over 20 years of multidisciplinary research, professional experience in natural resource management, integrated watershed management, soil water conservation, fisheries development, riverine, wetland, and biodiversity conservation, and influence of traditional knowledge. Contributed innovatively across multiple themes of sustainable farming systems, livelihoods, and food security avenues, and community mobilization. Has over 100 scientific technical publications, received 30 fellowships, awards, including Fulbright fellowships, Fulbright Alumni Award, 3 national fellowships, Best Scientist, Gold Medal, and many competitive grants. He has traveled extensively in USA and India and has networked with various states, line departments, national and international research institution, developmental organization, and universities, colleges, besides farming communities. a proportionate researcher, socializing science and technology. Dr. M. Muruganandan, I am very thankful to Dr. Muruganandan who has accepted our invitation, and now I request him to guide us. Thank you, sir. Thanks again.
Hello,
Hello.
am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So now Professor Muruganandan sir is there. Hello, sir. Muruganandan sir, not you. You are already given the introduction. It's over. Resource person. Amol,
यस सर.
sir join झाले का?
हो सर जॉईन झाले सर. पुन्हा लिहून
स्क्रीन वर घ्या बरं थोडासा.
नाही सर लिहून झाले वाटतं सर पुन्हा.
अरे त्याचे ते थोडं पाऊस पाणी चाललंय म्हणून देहरादूनला
हम्म.
त्यांचे नेटचे इश्यू चालले ते. 2 मिनिट थांब, कारण का ते जॉईन झालं होतं ना.
हो सर ICCR देहरादून म्हणून जॉईन झाले.
देहरादून.
येस येस.
All
Yes, sir.
videos of all the participants should be kept close. प्रत्येक पार्टिसिपेंटचा व्हिडिओ आता बंद कर.
हो.
कारण काय आपला हा सगळं रेकॉर्डिंग असतो है ना.
So participants, close our studio. Just a minute.
Press.
Roll number 56. Please close your video.
ये चार्जिंग हिला दो
Professor Muruganandan sir. Amol? Amol?
Yes. So afternoon session is person has been joined. So
No. Can the screen
roll number
now?
2.
Can the screen मोटा कर?
Roll number 2, Milind Wag sir.
See, I request all the participants, this is first day, that you should not keep your mobile or your screen open. All of you shut down your videos. Kagane, Jijabai
Wag sir.
Kagane, yes, Bhavan Singh, Pramod Javade, please keep your videos off. अमोल तू इथूनच करून टाक रे बरं सगळ्यांचं.
Yes.
आणि बरेच लोकांच्या मला वाटतं म्यूट करून ठेव. I can see. I am audible, Professor Muruganandan sir. Hello. Hansraj Dongre. Hansraj Dongre, you mute your mic. Hansraj Dongre. Yes, sir. You please mute your mic.
Permission
Good. Bobby, all the time not missing. Amol? Amol
Yes.
Madan.
Yes sir.
काय झालं रे सरांचं काय टेक्निकल चाललं?
सरांचा आवाज येत नाही sir. Problem.
सारखं झालं ते प्रॉब्लेम. म्हणून मी त्यांना ऍडव्हान्सला सांगितलं 15 मिनिट अगोदर जॉईन होऊन जा. अभी मी फोन पण करतोय पण उचलत नाही, 2 मिनिट थांबतो.
So Muruganandan sir, you can audible.
हा
सरांचा माईक टेक्निकल इश्यू
प्रॉब्लेम आहे का? ते मोबाईलवर जॉईन होत नाही, त्यांच्या ऑफिस मधून जॉईन होतोय, मोबाईल उचलायला पाहिजे ना.
Muruganandan sir, you can unmute themselves.
अच्छा, ऐसा हो जाता है, ठीक. I'm audible this side?
Yeah, sir.
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes, sir, you are
Amol,
audible. You
screen.
can share the screen and start.
You share the screen, sir, please.
इसको volume बढ़ाना है.
Maybe अपने screen.
Hello?
Yeah.
Nanji sir,
Professor.
good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. You please share your screen first.
Okay. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How are you, sir? Yeah,
Hello, sir.
So, Muruganandan sir, you can audible. Yes, you are audible.
I'm audible this side?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
You are audible. Screen. त्यांच्या screen करणार.
Yes, sir, you can share the screen and start the lecture.
आ रहा है ना? मैसेज तो आ रहा है ना?
मैसेज भी नहीं आ रहा.
Right. All right. Thank you. Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah, good afternoon.
I'm audible.
You are audible, sir. Whether I am audible.
Please, some of you can respond.
I am audible. Hello. Amol.
Yes, sir.
Nobody wants to
आपका
respond.
आवाज जात नाही करत ना.
I think some audibles issue, sir, this side.
काय बोलावं मग ते विचारत राहतो ना, ऑडिबल आहे का ऑडिबल आहे.
Hello, sir. आगे. अजय कोई साउंड नहीं आ रहा था.
डॉक्टर मुरुगानंदन सर. हेलो सर.
सर आई थिंक उस साइड का इश्यू सर, उनका आवाज जा रहा पर उनको ऑडिबल नहीं जा रहा सर. आई थिंक साउंड इश्यू है सर उधर साइड से. बंडले सर
बोलणार बेटा.
सर त्यांना एकदा कॉल करून सांगा, कारण त्यांचा कनी आवाज येतोय पण त्यांना आपला आवाज जातो, मग त्यांचा साऊंड इश्यू आहे सर, तिकडे ऑडिओचा प्रॉब्लेम.
तो हे तो उचलत नाही, त्याचा प्रॉब्लेम आहे. करा तो अगदी एक मिनिट.
येस येस, त्यांना सांगा लागेल सर तुमचा आवाज येतोय, फक्त तुम्हाला जो असेल साऊंड ऑडिओबलचा प्रॉब्लेम असेल तिकडचा साऊंड, त्यांना आपल्याकडचा म्हणजे ऐकू जात नाही त्यांच्या.
अमोल. अमोल.
येस सर.
हा 2 मिनिटात जॉईन होतो म्हटलं, ते त्यांचे टेक्निकल इश्यू त्यांच्या टीम सॉर्ट आउट केलेले जॉईन होत आहे.
ओके ओके सर, ओके ओके.
Hello.
Yes sir, you are audible sir.
Sir, you are audible.
Okay. I'm
Muruganandan
audible,
sir,
right?
please. Yeah,
Yes, you are
you're
clearly audible sir. You can share the screen and start the lecture.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, please.
Okay. Sometimes with the technologies, problems occur. Yeah.
Yeah, it is okay. I know.
Yeah.
You please share your screen.
Yeah, I'm just doing that.
Yeah.
And some of you can guide again whether my slides are visible or not, huh?
Yeah.
Is it visible?
Yes sir.
It is visible.
Yes sir. It's visible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very firstly, before your introduction,
Yeah.
I'm Dr. Bandela sir. How are you?
Yeah, fine. Yeah. You have been in touch, yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
So anyway, on behalf of Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar Marathwada University, and on behalf of all the participants, 74 participants are there. So I warmly welcome you, sir, for this particular session. There are refresher course in environmental science and sustainable development. Muruganandan sir, you
Yes,
know
sir.
that he is a principal scientist and head of the department. Okay, ICR Indian Institute of Soil and Water Conservation, all the way from the Dehradun. So sir, he is a family member of this university, used to come frequently, and we love to listen his lectures regarding the conservation, watershed management, and all these things.
Sir, is
Yes, sir. So I think rule number two, are you there? कांबळे सर काहीतरी होतो ना, अमोल
यस मिलिंद वाघ सर.
मिलिंद वाघ सर. आता सर जॉईन झाल्यानंतर एकदा त्यांच्या समोर इंट्रोडक्शन करा, कारण का ते जॉईनच झाले नव्हतं ना, तुम्ही पहिले सांगून टाकले. हॅलो
यस मिलिंद वाघ सर. यू
मिलिंद वाघ सर,
कॅन.
तुम्ही इंट्रोड्यूस करा त्यांना लवकर.
I think sir, roll number 2 has left the meetings.
Thank you, Badela Saab, for nice introduction, and we'll straight away jump into the topic. And yeah, I'm audible that side.
Yeah, you are audible. One thing there, your small biodata brief given by the one teacher. Okay.
Okay.
So let them finish, because after then we'll take 10-15 minutes more. No issue at all.
Okay. Okay.
Miलिंद
All right.
Sir, चला बोला लवकर. Introduce करून घ्या.
Sir, I think 2 numbers are left the meetings. I think some technical issue.
Okay. Anyway, then Muruganandan sir, you please.
No issue, no issue. I'll
this
introduce
institute.
myself.
Yes.
I'll introduce myself. I am Muruganandan, working for this Indian Council of Agriculture Research. It has got 130 institutes across the country, and different institutes work on different commodities and agriculture commodities and natural resources. One such institute is Indian Institute of Soil and Water Conservation, which is in located in Dehradun. And I'm here working as a principal scientist, and I'm looking after research coordination here at this institute. And I'm happy to be here on board to talking to you. And straight away we can jump into the topic of environment and environment management in the context of climate change and kind of conservation needs. All right.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Okay, for confirming. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. We are listening to you, sir.
Right, right. Thank you. So now I think, may I know the participants, who are those, what is their background?
Sir, many of them from different disciplines.
Okay, and what they
Science
are?
and social sciences, languages. So
What
together.
college teachers, school
Yeah,
teachers?
these are all undergraduate professors are there from
Okay.
colleges.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay.
Yeah, 75 teachers are there on this particular program.
Right, right. Good, good.
Yes,
good.
please.
Okay. Now we will be talking and discussing about natural resources and environment, because this training is also about environment and natural resources. As we all know that soil, water, minerals, and biodiversity, they are all in a different landscapes and water resources and situations present, and we need to identify them and characterize them and conserve them and sensibly use them. And in that context, we need to understand the environment and its component also. Environment is nothing but, as we all know, that it includes land, water, and airspace. Land, again, it could be under different land uses, including forest, settlement, agriculture, and barren land. And water, again, the main source of water is rainfall runoff. Ultimate source is rainfall, as we all know, and that follows rivers, oceans, and groundwaters, all that, and air and atmospheric aerosols, all that, and that all these would include plants and animals, living things, with which we continue to get our food and livelihood options. And good environment is again is a function of balanced ecosystem and its components. Ecosystem means that primary producer, consumers, and decomposer, all those components at their kind of balanced settings, and their components, clean air, water, and hygiene, their hygiene. And agriculture is also again a function of getting good land, labor, capital, climate change, water, etc. And our lives and welfare depends on these two factors: good environment and good agriculture, because our life is a function of, again, getting good food and good environment. So let us talk on these environment and natural resource management on resource conservation. And particularly if we talk about water, and we all know that water is plenty in the global settings, yet only very minimum, less than 3%, and we even in that 3% also very meager amount is only available fresh water for our use. And rest of the water is either locked in groundwater or in kind of mountain and ice caps. See here, you see it's a freshwater area wise, it's only 1%, and volume wise even meager, and majority is in salt water, 70% area wise and volume wise. And the ultimate water source is rainfall, as I said, and it is world average is 1100 millimeter average annual rainfall. India has got little over the average, world average. It is something around 1120, which makes the country little safer and little kind of productive or potential for water-based development, including agriculture and production. Yeah. And these from these rainfall runoff, and we have got good network of riverine drainage lines and different spheres of rainfall zones. All that makes or gives a different land settings and landscapes and ecosystems and agroecosystem features with which we are in a position to have a diverse ecological settings with which we can have a diverse agriculture production systems and agriculture commodities that cater to the needs of our diversified food production needs. Yeah. And in India, we have got something around 29,000 kilometers of rivers and canals and others, huge network of ponds and tanks and reservoirs that occupied rich biodiversity, fish biodiversity. All that gives good avenue for food production and livelihoods. And this kind of small clippings to show the diversified landscapes and ecosystems with which our country is having resources, so that can be used for different production purposes, mountainous and recreational ponds and network of rivers and oceans and upland lakes and kind of dams and reservoirs and canals and torrential runoff, rainfall runoff that can be tapped for productive purposes. And though we have got good amount of resources and potentials, equally challenges also not less than those potential. So kind of land degradation, soil erosion, and frequent rainfall events and droughts and production losses and shrinking of land resources, maybe due to changing land uses and anthropogenic activities and water scarcity, climate change hazards. And there are a number of kind of climate challenges that we need to address before we harness our resources for productive purposes. I'm audible that side. My flow is okay. Should I have a change?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Audible.
Yes, sir. Yes.
My flow of information and speed is okay with you all?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. Any concern? No problem, na?
No.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and we have got a series of challenges, and also we at times we have to have we often experience a disaster. The disaster could be climatic, natural, and cultural ritual. Even cultural and ritual sort of kind of a disaster also often occur, like polluting festivals and ceremonies, and many different anthropogenic activities like excessive harvesting and unplanned development activities like floods, droughts, and cultural disasters and landslides and land degradation and blocking the drainage are making the dams or bunds all leads to disasters that we have to consciously understand those features and phenomena. So how best we can adjust our activities so that they are minimum and they disturb our living at a minimum scale. So like these are all some of the features we would have seen every now and then, floods and droughts. So drought regions are very common in our country, and that makes the soil poor and unhealthy to have agriculture production. And we need to understand. Yeah, please. And we have got different land degradation phenomena, and their drivers or causative factors like loss of vegetative cover. Why these land resources and landscape? can you please mute your mics so that flow keeps going? Yeah. Yeah, thank you. And loss of vegetative cover and landscape disturbances and unscientific land use and socio-economic pressure due to increasing population and need for food production, increasing need for food production and distribution. So all that leads or gives a pressure on the land resources.
आपण छान सवयीलो ठीक आहे ड्रेस
आल्यावर सुकळ
हा मग ड्रेस काढायचा छान सवयीलो आपण गुड हॅबिट ओके
Okay. All right. So, and all these land degradation factors and drivers will ultimately lead to loss of forests and our land resources and soil health and soil nutrients and agriculture production potentials and loss to the resources, even human beings and livestock and other human resources. So, consciously we have to understand them and we have to try or we have to develop technologies to avert them and reduce them. And here is a slides that highlights the soil erosion status in our country. Something around 37 million hectare is severely eroded and 22 million hectare is very severe. And like that, our land resources are variously degraded in different features, and that affects our production potential and even our sustainable development and sustainable existence in coming years. So we have to understand those phenomena and factors like anthropogenic activities like uncontrolled and unsustainable land degradation and road construction or blocking the drainage. We can never block the drainage that would degrade or erode the landscapes and damage our resources, and damming the river flow is also one of the very serious ecological concern that affects our flowing rivers and ecosystems that affect our even our riverine biodiversity and production potential. But the associated benefits which we are getting, that irrigation waters and kind of electricity and other road network makes subside those damages, and we are promoting those. But while doing so, we have to understand the ill effects of those, and we have to try to reduce or how we can compromise those damages so that those damages are kept under minimum. And yeah, and landslides and riverbank erosions are very common in our country in different regions of the country. Torrent bank erosion and riverbank erosions, and this scene is the cropping in riverbeds. So these kind of the various kinds of land degradation, soil erosion, nutrient loss, and topsoil loss. All this topsoil is one of the important natural resource because it has got rich plant nutrients, nitrogen and phosphorus, potassium and other micronutrients like calcium and magnesium. They are all washed out during subsequent rainfall. So if we cannot cover up the soil with protective cover like cover crops and other suitable local grasses or cropping systems and patterns, we are likely to lose soil along with soil nutrients that are very detrimental to our agriculture production and food production or sustainability. And this change in climate and change in land uses and change in anthropogenic activities all affect or lead to land degradation and soil loss. And we have to understand them, then how we can avert them or reduce their impact. So maybe one approach our institute promotes that watershed management, and by doing watershed management, we are likely to increase the ecosystem services from those landscapes and ecosystems, and land and water resources and biodiversity likely to get increased ecosystem services. And if you don't manage them properly, appropriately with suitable soil conservation and natural resource management and technologies, then we are likely to reduce our potential to harvest ecosystem services from those resources. And we are promoting, our institute is promoting watershed management and soil and water conservation, and technologies are developed for different resources and different landscape settings. And if you don't managed through effective watershed management and natural resource management technologies, we are likely to lose our land resources and biodiversity resources over years. Even if you apply our technologies or improved technologies, still we are likely to lose some amount of land and water and biodiversity resources. But if you don't manage them through soil and water conservation and watershed management, the impact or the loss would be any resource, if it is kept intact, left as such, without any exploitation, it is likely to preserve. It is likely to be preserved for longer time, like in forests and natural forests and all. The resource will be protected for longer time. The moment you use them for your productive purpose, for agriculture production or any other productive activities, you are disturbing the natural settings, and they are likely to have a degradation. So, but if we can implement some amount of watershed management and soil and water conservation technological technology suitably, and their degradation can be reduced and the impact can be a little reduced. But if not, if not completely stopped. So this slide shows that, and for which while affecting watershed management. While affecting watershed management, we understand the topography of the region and landscapes, and accordingly we digitize the drainage lines and other natural resource settings. What sort of land resource is there and soil resources are there, and what are those resource potentials, and what sort of crops or production system it can support. Accordingly, we or what sort of damages or what sort of degradation is existing or going on. So what sort of technologies may be required to reduce them or avoid them. So we understand the natural settings, and accordingly we develop different soil conservation structures and bioengineering measures to control them, maybe through understanding their landscape features or watershed features like aspects and elevation, their slopes along the other features like elongation, ratio, form factors. All these may not be required. The only thing here, what I would like to highlight is that we understand the watershed features. So what are their slopes and what is their aspect and maximum part of the land, how do they face towards east or west, something like that, in hills and on plains, and what is the elevation and slope, and that circulatory ratio, and how many number of streams are transecting the watersheds also matters, and also support or gives opportunity for rich biodiversity and opportunity for good production systems. So what are the drainage line system, what are the drainage density, what are those first order streams that you can explore in other internet and all, what are the orders of streams and all that. So all these are confluence, and confluence makes the riverine ecosystem richer and healthier. More the confluence, more the number of stream orders and streams, you will have a better healthy ecosystems, healthy riverine ecosystems, and healthy watersheds as such. That there you can have a diverse kind of agriculture production system, including fish farming and different cropping systems and patterns. All that you can have. So drainage textures and sinuosity, all these are all watershed related features that you need not much bother, but if you need, you can specifically explore further. And soil quality, and again biodiversity and land use, land cover changes. What are those land cover? More the agriculture, the degradation could be more, and higher the area under forest would be a healthy watershed. And so dense forest would indicate good watershed, and they may not record much watershed management intervention, but the land degradation is more, then such kind of watershed needs more kind of watershed implementation. And again, socioeconomic factors, number of populations, weaker sections, and fish consumers, non-vegetarian populations. So what do they need to produce more locally, so that their food production need for food need met out, and also their livelihood needs also met out. So all these factors, based on all these factors, we prioritize watersheds, and we implement different watershed technologies that we will be coming in future slides and later slides. And this watershed management again implemented by many multidisciplinary scientists and experts, as we have got multidisciplinary experts at this institute, that socioeconomic scientists and agriculture agronomists and agriculture scientists and forestry and horticulture scientists and animal husbandry scientists and fisheries and aquaculture and hydrology and engineering scientists, those who plan land degradation, aversion technologies, and again water harvesting and conservation structure, all that. So all multidisciplinary people work in tandem to conserve the resources and put them into productive use, so that we get enabling environment and we have a sustainable living. So these slides also focusing on that we have got a multi-sectoral and multidisciplinary people work in tandem together to manage the available land and water and biodiversity resources, so that we continue to have enabling environment and improved life. And these bioengineering measures includes many different engineering structure and kind of different crops and local grasses planting, so that our degraded land is improved suitably. So while doing so, while understanding land degradation and soil loss, land degradation and nutrient loss or soil loss, we understand first of these soil loss factors, RKLSCP, very prominently known. These indicates the erodibility of the rainfall. The raindrops and rainfall vary in terms of intensity and their duration, all that. So all that intensity and duration influences the soil erosion and land degradation. Similarly, the soil factors, soil health and soil condition also influence the erosion and degradation. And the length of the slope increases increased slope will have increased degradation. And similarly, the degree of slope, higher the degree of slope and greater would be the degradation and soil loss. So, and again, C is the crop cover. What is the cover? What is the land use of that soil? What sort of crops are there? Whether crops are there or not, or it's a settlement or impervious layers of the soil, or crops surface. So what is the crops of the crops existing on the soil, and what is the management piece? What is the management practices implemented in the landscapes on the soil resources? So these factors influence the soil loss and land degradation greatly. So we understand these factors accordingly. We devise different soil and water conservation technologies, in particularly engineering and bioengineering measures. And with the bioengineering measures, we are likely to have a very sustained or longer duration kind of benefits in averting the degradation or sustaining the resources. Only by engineering measures may serve for some time, then they may subside. So we promote bioengineering measures at this institute, and with conservation, we are likely to have so organic carbon conserved and means helping climate change or impacts. And without conservation, we are likely to have add climate impacts more. And for different region and for different sections of the watersheds and different size of the watersheds, we have got a different soil conservation measures, like in first order streams and second order watersheds, third order smaller size watersheds and bigger watersheds, still bigger watersheds and larger watersheds. We have got different set of conservation bioengineering measures, like trenches and pits and bunds for the smaller or first order streams, and check dams and other protective walls in the higher order streams and higher bigger watersheds, and again reinforced check dams and gabion spurs and other check dams for larger order streams and larger watersheds. Depending on the location and that I told, the RKLSCP, depending on the RKLSCP factors and soil erosion and soil loss factors and the size of the watersheds and contributing drainage streams, we implement different soil conservation and technologies to conserve soil and water resources. And in the process of soil and watershed management and watershed management programs, we need to understand riverine flows and riverine features also, because rivers also the part of the watersheds. And we have to understand their hydrology and connectivity and biology and geomorphology and longitudinal connectivity and lateral connectivity. So this is the upstream and this is downstream, and this is upland and this is downstream lowland area. And they all have invariable connections between upland and lowland and upstream and downstream. We have to understand there, because in the upstreams, the energy source comes from the associated forests in the hilltops. And as the rivers move, the energy is generated within the system, and the biodiversity within the rivers in the upstreams and downstream will be varying and diverse. So as the river moves from the upstreams to the downstream, the biodiversity also would be increasing, and their fish production potential also increasing. So we have to understand them and their connectivity, and the upstream and downstream connectivity and conflicts also should be understood, and accordingly we have to work with the local people and resources existing there, so that we conserve our resources. And E-flow, environmental flow in any riverine system, at least 15 to 20% of average annual lean flow should be. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Should be maintained as a environmental flow, so that we continue to maintain our biodiversity within the rivers, because the river needs some amount of flow and their features to maintain their breeding seasons and breeding patterns and biodiversity maintenance. So this environmental flow, which is nothing but 15 to 20% of average lean flow season, should be maintained. Naimura. Okay, my slides are not visible that side, I think. Hello? My slides are visible that side? Somebody can respond? Hello, friends? Hello? Avyara? Okay. Thank you. Why? I think nobody is responding anyway. All right. You are available. Otherwise, I am talking simply. Somebody can respond. I'm seeing around 65 people on board, but nobody to respond. Hello? No? Okay. All right. Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, I'll continue. Yeah. And within the riverine systems, we have got different habitats like riparian zones. Riparian zones means we must understand the zones adjacent to the riverine river banks. Both the river banks include riparian zones and waterfalls and cascades and pools, riffles. They are all different habitats. Within the riverine system, we have to understand and we have to conserve them also. And in the conservation continuity, and we implemented different land degradation, land configuration and contour bunting, graded bunting. These are all different conservation techniques. If you explore on internet, you will find all these different conservation techniques that I will not discuss much on these. And there are a number of mechanical measures like slope stabilization, soil retention structures, and agronomic measures. Each concept needs 1 hour of explanation, and just introducing the concept and leaving to you, and then you can explore further. And contour forming, manipulation of crop canopy, and intercropping, mixed cropping, all that agronomical measures, biological measures that help in conserving moisture and helping soil degradation, averting the soil degradation and improving the agriculture production, and minimum tillage or conservation tillage. All these are all different concepts and features and phenomena and kind of technologies with which we are able to conserve our natural resources, particularly soil and water and biodiversity, and vegetative barriers and kind of alternate land use system as a technology we promote from our institute. And these are all different engineering structures like we know that conservation barriers and excess water regulators and weirs and retaining walls and spillways, all that different diversion structures and gabions structures, so that these are all different type of trenches. They are likely to, or they are meant to conserve soil moisture, ensure soil moisture. There are different types of trenches, like contour trenches, staggered trenches, like that, and weirs and contour farming and contour for terracing and contour funding or farming means that the technology or the concept that promotes farming or bunding across the slopes. If you farm anything along the slope, you are likely to lose topsoil and soil erosion more occur. But if you do across the slope and across the bunding across the slope, if we can farm, then that help in conserving the soil and reducing the soil erosion. And different type of bunds, and these are gabion structures, what we say, and this help in training the river courses and protect the river banks and river bunds. This is the feature or technology developed by our institute, and this gabion structure is a specific structure made use of GIS wire and locally available stone to protect the river flows, and this is a gabion net webbing, so with which we conserve our riverine flows. This is different types of gabion structures, and these are different structures to reduce landslide and slope stabilization, maybe through geojute textiles and all that. And this is the one gabion structures with which we continue to get good quality for flowing water. And with watershed management and different land degradation and averting technologies, we likely to get a good quality water with that can flow into our rivers, and which can support our fish biomass and food production. With the different soil and water conservation bioengineering measures, we are likely to green our landscapes and degraded lands, so that that supports a good biodiversity and also support good food production systems. And yeah, because without watershed management and soil conservation measures, we are likely to lose our land resources, because we are continuously increasing our agriculture production due to increasing population and increasing need for increasing the food production. Every year we are increasing our agriculture commodities because of increasing population and the need for food, and thereby we are likely to degrade the resources also land. And with continued agriculture and intensive agriculture particularly, we are likely to degrade our land and water resources, but we have to consciously reduce the degradation and impact, maybe by sensibly using limited fertilizer and pesticides and conservation tillage or minimum soil work. We should not disturb the soil every time, so that the topsoil is not eroded during next rainfall runoff. And monocropping and change in land uses, urbanization, all that causes land degradation. So we have to avoid those degrading features and phenomena. And for that, we have to diversify agriculture production instead of depending on monocropping or only few crops, because we have got 30,000 edible plants across the globe for food production, but only 9 plants supports our food production systems are that contributes to our food production. 70% comes from the 7 plants only. And similarly, we have got 300 fish species for farming or edible fish species, but we only depend on 10 species for our food production. So we need to diversify different crops and different biodiverse species for our food production, so that our food production comes from diversified resources and species that also gives diverse nutrients, which are very necessary for our health and living. Yeah. And in that context, we promote watershed management. One such watershed watershed management and soil conservation technologies, water harvesting, and wherever water is available or rainfall occurs, that has to be harvested suitably and can be used for life-saving irrigation or utilizing for agriculture, besides using it for groundwater recharge, flood moderation. So these are some of these pictures of kind of rainwater harvesting or river stream harvesting and utilizing it for agriculture productions. And this one scene is wherever water is available in plenty, and that can be transferred to water scarce or water minimum zones through different water harvesting tanks and structures and conveying pipes that can be used for multiple uses for including agriculture, irrigation, or fish farming and for livestock development. So this with the development of water harvesting on water resources, one can go for irrigation as well as poultry farming, livestock development, and of course fish farming. And also it helps groundwater recharge and flood moderation. It would help in reducing the flood impacts. So these are some of these structures developed by our institutes on different settings and different agroecosystems, water harvesting and recycling. And this conserved or harvested water should be effectively utilized so that water use efficiency is increased and our production is achieved more. And one another concept is integration of many different commodities and components, integrated farming systems. With the same amount of water and land resources, we can have different agriculture commodities like poultry farming, agroforestry, croppings and fish farmings and poultry farming, and down below fish farming and down below agriculture. So we can have different commodities or components in the same piece of land and water resources with which we can increase our production potential and reduce the environmental impact. So here you see the farmers, wherever they find space and resources, they go for integration. This is a farmer managed mixed cropping and intercropping in the same piece of land. He has got different crops, fodders and tree crops and all that, and buns and the grasses, grasses and the buns. And again, and while doing so, we have to have a canopy management. While planting tree crops and food crops, we have to have a kind of canopy management or orientation. Here you see this wheat crop and this tree crop. So they are planted such a way that wind won't have a disturbance on the wheat crop. So dodging may not happen. The wheat crop may not fall due to winds. So we have to manage the canopy, and so suitably we can incorporate different components for integrated farming system. Here is another integration that both shallow rooted crops and deep rooted crops can be planted on the same landscape, so that the nutrients available in the different state of the soil, underground soil, can be exploited by these crops. And similarly, these crops can occupy different zones of the above ground spaces. Like some crops grow tall, and some grow in the middle level, and some vegetables on the ground level. So they utilize the space above ground and below ground spaces effectively, and utilize the resources effectively. So this sort of vertical intercropping integration also can be included. And this is one toposequential integration developed by one of the Northeastern Institute, ICR Institute, that in the top hills should be protected by forest crops, and down below agriculture crops, and down below agriculture and horticulture crops above. And whatever rainfall water falls can be harvested in the down reaches, the lowland situations, and that can be used for life-saving irrigation, maybe in the upstream zones, maybe by using energy level pumping, and the downstreams by maybe gravity-fed irrigation. And the same harvested water can be used for livestock and poultry farming and fish farming also. So this is toposequential. This the top landscape should be protected by forest covers, so that the land degradation is protected. Land degradation is averted or minimum, because the soil, when the forest is there, that protects land and land resources, that resist the land degradation and soil loss. And so once the top region is protected, and the down regions automatically gets protected. Yeah. And these are some of the farm animals we often promote in integration, like cow and buffalo, goats and sheep, rabbits and fish, poultry, and different forms of poultry. And we can integrate all these farm animals into our farming settings, so that we get diversified food, and also we increase the use of available resources effectively and productively, and we get increased production, and at the same time we get we minimize the environmental impacts on waste minimization. And this one form of integration, wherever the paddy fields are there, then we can go for paddy fish integration, and with which this paddy yield also increased by 50 to 20%, because the pests and predators of paddy is consumed by fish, and fish gets an environment for living, and so they both get synergetic benefits. And this paddy also gets a good nutrients, because the fish nibbling at the root zone releases the soil nutrients from the soil and water, and with which the paddy gets good nutrients. So paddy fish integration is also one such integration that we can promote wherever possible. Hills and all, spring waters are plenty, and spring water can be harvested and can be used for fish farming and integrated use for life saving, all that. Here is one such we developed, and this is another model that we have developed in Terry region, or pigs, poultry and fish, and model which is being developed and demonstrated to the stakeholders. And yeah, I'll skip all that. And different farms of these days, different farms of poultry birds are available for dual purpose production, both for eggs and meat. So within 2-3 months, they get they grow to meat table size, and within 6 months they grow to laying size. So their gestation period is very minimum. This is one of the this is one of the production avenue that one can go for integration, poultry farming, and pig farming also potential, because they are good scavengers and they accept any kind of waste, and they convert into meat, and they can be included in our production systems. And similarly, goats also. The goats gestation period is also less, and they also give a good return. And these are all some of these integrated farming system developed by our institute in different locations, and we are promoting. And as we in this line, that we have to understand the conservation agronomical process in any integrated farming or any farming. We have to understand minimum soil disturbance and conserving features, soil and water conserving features, because soil and water resources are very precious, that how we can conserve them. So these are some of the techniques, so minimum tillage or zero tillage, control farming, and crop diversification, mulching, all that are different concepts and technologies, and they require hours to talk. So I'll just leave it here only, and we can take up another training classes. And these are all agronomic measures that soil should be covered like this, so that soil erosion and the erosive force of rainfall does not affect the land, and does not cause soil loss and land degradation. So soil should be always covered like this, maybe through crops or even local grasses also. This is contour farming, all that. So these are all some of these biological or agronomical measures. And as regard to animal farming, then we need to understand the sanitation, and this animal shed should be kept clean and neat, and by cleaning every now and then on a daily basis, so that we give a good environment for their living, and their waste can be collected in settlement tanks, and in like these, and the settlement tanks we can keep hay, or these paddy or wheat hay bales. The stocks can be kept here, and they absorb these waste and plant nutrients, and these bales can be again incorporated into soil as a mulch material, and that would include soil nutrients into soil, and at the same time remove the waste material, waste nutrients from the waste used of water, and this water can again be used for irrigation or fish farming or animal watering. So this way we can improve the wastewater from the integrated units. At the same time, we have to bother about the animal health also, because animals are also likely to get their health issues, particularly ectoparasites, endoparasites, and wasting. These pot belly animal indicate they have got endoparasites. There are insects or worms inside their bellies that causes poor growth and poor yield. So we have to give them deworming tablets periodically, and that FMD, PPR, they are all very specific diseases affecting these hoofed animals, and their animal sheds should be cleaned every now and then, so that we give them a congenial environment for their living, like periodic vaccination for specific disease like foot and mouth disease, renterpest, and deworming tablets for ectoparasites and endoparasites, and quality sanitation through every now and then cleaning. So these are all some of the features we have to give them, so that we give them a good healthy conditions, so we continue to get good production from them. And these are all some of these medicines and tablets for different situations, infertility and fevers and kind of ectoparasites, endoparasites. I'll just skip from here. And again, we have to bother about their feeds and feeding patterns, and incorporation of salts and minerals, so that the animals and birds continue to get good nutrients, and they give good production and yield. These are all some of these camps for making the farmers and stakeholders aware of these nutrients and feeding patterns and requirements. And in this line, the watershed management, as I said, it includes many different disciplines, and farm management and is one such efforts, maybe through bioengineering measures like agronomic measures, and small engineering measures like bunding and trenches, all that in the farm management. And similarly, in the forest and common property resources, non-arable lands also need management, and maybe through managing the grazings and forest lands. How do they get degraded? One such degradation factor is grazing, or harvesting for fodders, loping and all that. So while managing the forest, we have to promote a rotational grazing. So a piece of land or forest can be divided into 4 zones, and over a few months we can allow in these zones, and next we can take them to the adjacent lands, and like that we can have a rotation, so that the forest and forest resources are not excessively used, and they are not barren, they are not they are not put to be exposed to rainfall and other land degradation factors. So we have to have a rotational grazing, and also we have to manage these forest resources maybe through different bioengineering measures, and by maybe the crops like planting crops like these bamboos, because the bamboos have the soil binding capacity, and they keep the soil intact, and they resist the soil erosion and degradation. So we have to identify those kind of species, and we advocate forest aggradation and forest promotion and fodder land promotions. And grasslands management, because grasslands also we need to manage, because grasslands support our livestock, because our livestock is also one of the important livelihood or food production system. Second, next to agriculture, livestock contributes to our food production and livelihood options. So we have to conserve or manage these grasslands which are associated with the livestock production, and maybe through annual grasses and perennial grasses. And I'll just skip over here, and this fodder comes from the forests and grasslands, and all the fodder requirement may not be met from these forests and fodder grasslands, and rest of the part of the fodder requirement has to become from the agriculture fields, like fodder crops, different fodder crops, maize and other fodder crops. Different these days, and different fodder crops are available, and we have to include some of the legumes in the fodder and crop production. Also, legume has got one of the benefit that fixing the atmospheric nitrogen in the soil. So nitrogen is important soil nutrient which is freely available from the legume crops. Because the legume crops has the potential to trap this atmospheric nitrogen, because in the atmosphere we have got rich nitrogen. 78% of the gas is nitrogen only, but the soil is devoid of nitrogen in most occasions. So incorporating legumes, legume crops and legume fodders, we can help the building of soil nutrients, particularly nitrogen. And the nitrogen of this legume fodder is also important for livestock, because it increases the palatability, it increases the nutritional value, and it increases the production level. Yeah. And these days, different fodder crops are now identified and being promoted, like different crops, sorghum, maize, and pearl millets. These are all different crop-based fodders, berseems, and leucaena, and hybrid napiers, guinea grass, paragrass, all that. And now non-conventional fodders also, like azolla and sugar beet, opensia, even this spineless cactus also being used as a fodder these days, where soil moisture is or water stress is there, water, like in Rajasthan and all, water availability may be less, so there we can promote this kind of spineless opensia as a fodder crop. And these I'll skip for want of time. There are different of the fodder also need to be conserved and effectively utilized. Stall feeding instead of wasting the fodders, because fodder is also very important resources, and we have to improve their use, maybe by physical methods, by chopping, all that, and chemical methods. These fodder can also be preserved for longer time, maybe through acid treatment and urea treatment, UMB blocks may be made. With the dry fodder or green fodder is available during different seasons, rainy seasons and dry seasons. Those can be conserved maybe through these treatments for longer uses or future uses. And biological methods, by incorporating fungi and bacteria, their palatability and then nutritional values of the fodders improves. So we have to, these are some of these techniques of fodder conservation and fodder kind of feed blocks preparations. If the fodder is available in some season, that can be conserved or preserved like these blocks that can be used for the future. And in the rural settings and the Himalayan regions, for the excess fodder can be farmers store like these, or they use it for future uses. And silage production and forage conservation, these are all some of the techniques with which we can conserve these, or preserve or protect these excess fodder, and can be used for the fodder scarce period or situations. And I'll switch over to fish farming. And this fish farming has got huge benefit of environment management, environment improvement. At the same time, it gives food fish, and also employment opportunities and livelihood opportunities. And water harvesting and fish farming gives good opportunity for fish farming, and something around 4 to 4.5 tons can be produced from a hectare of water harvested. And in India, we use these Indian major crops, 3 Indian major crops, Katla, Rogu, Mirgal, and these 3 Chinese crops widely cultivated throughout the country. And off late, this fungus and tilapia and Clarius species also being cultivated. This Clarius caripineus is banned in our country. This is kind of exotic species. Came from Thailand, Thai magur, and it is nationally banned because of its carnivorous or ecologically disturbing behavior. It's it eats up the local biodiversity and reduces the biodiversity, so it is banned. But farmers are farming, and these are some of the species suitable for coastal regions, prawns and mullets, and different yields and perches. And this is marine species also being cultivated these days, because land resources in our environment, our land situations are kept on reducing, is it not? Our land degradation is rampant, and again land availability is also getting reduced, maybe due to fast land use changes, and again increased land fragmentations. So our land resources are land-man ratio is getting reduced, but what is available is extensive or vast ocean resources. Now farmers are, our country is, stakeholders are encouraged to farm the oceans, maybe through cages and pens, and for which we need seeds. And one of the ICR institutes, CMFRI, has got technology for marine fish seeds and feed production. These are also successful. And these are some of these aquatic weeds, azolla and seaweeds, gracilaria and crawlerpa. They are all having the more economic and ecological environmental benefits. And these seaweeds are having kind of medicinal and cosmetic values, and they are also being cultivated for different purposes, and one can promote that. And this is a Chinese hatcheries for fish seed production, and seed is produced from here, and that can be stocked in bigger ponds for table size fish production. And seed is produced from the hatchery, and then they can be transported and can be stocked and grown to a table size fish. And these kind of rafts and racks are being used for seaweed cultivation or pearl oysters and edible oyster production in marine environment and coastal environment. And these are all some of these advanced techniques. Now we are all aware that use of drone in agriculture and fish farming, and introduction of nano fertilizers, and our country is now progressing towards digital agriculture with a mission on 2025, and with which we are including sensors and robots and even these automated drones, all that. And other than that, aquaponics and aeroponics, biofloc technologies, and use of hybrid breeds and varieties, biofertilizers, all are as advanced technologies being incorporated into our agriculture systems. And this is one rural poultry hatchery. As I said, poultry birds have got a lesser gestation period, but this one-day-old chicks, or the input chicks, are very rare in any given settings. So for that, we can promote rural hatcheries, poultry hatcheries, with the amount of 5 lakhs also. And with these 5 lakhs, we can get 5,000 to 10,000 one-day-old chicks that can be supplied to the farmers for rural poultry farming. And in the poultry farming, these feeders and drinkers are very essential. Maybe one for every 25 birds are required. For every 25 birds, one feeder and one drinker are necessary. And the poultry birds can be grown in the house coops also, and also they can be allowed open grazing to graze on the spillover grains, all that. So these birds are amenable both for housing and free ranching also, and also they are meant for both egg production and meat production, dual purpose poultry birds. So I'll end up here, and while farming poultry birds, then we have to debeak the birds, because these peaks, with their peaks, they disturb the other birds, and then cause health concerns. So debeaker maybe manually or mechanically also. And the poultry sheds or coops should be periodically, on every after every crop we need to disinfect to avoid infection and diseases. And these cow mats to increase the sanitation and health condition in the sheds. And these are all some of these awareness camps organized by our institute. And these vermicomposting is one of the potential technology that we need to incorporate, so that we depend minimum on inorganic fertilizers. We depend more on natural or organic fertilizers to increase our production. And this mushroom production is also one of the potential technology that we can incorporate into our integrated farming systems. And this honeybee production is also one such potential technology with which we can get honey also, good quality honey, and also we can increase the number of pollinators. Bees are known for good pollinations, and without pollination, our agriculture production may not happen. And these bees are now otherwise in danger because of increased use of fertilizers or increased use of pesticides. So the natural bees are getting disturbed. So, but the increasing or promoting this honeybee farming apiary or honeybee production also would be increased. And this here is seen this hydroponics where land is minimum or scarce. We can promote hydroponic system like these overhead tanks and these small holes. We can plant vegetables, leafy vegetables, and these are all controlled. Fertilizer supply and water supply are controlled. I'll just scan through, and these are some of these integrated farming systems, recirculated systems. The same water is again and again recirculated. At the end of the recirculation, we place some tilapia sort of fish that remove the waste and that consume the waste and clean up the water, and that water can be recirculated again and again. And the used up water can be again clean up like these hay, paddy and wheat hay material. And this is the automatic feeder and hoppers, and the feed cost is very high in fish farming, and the feed cannot be wasted because it would cost increase the cost of cultivation, and also it would degrade the water quality and environment quality. So we place the feed here, and whenever fish feel hungry, and there would be a rope hanging down from the hopper, and the fish disturb the rope, and the demanded feed would fall down. So with which we can conserve the feed and also increase the environment health. And one another technology is biofloc technology, which is coming up in our country very fast. And biofloc is nothing but conglomeration of different microbes, or particularly bacteria. They clean up the water environment, and also they become a feed for these cultivated fish. So they serve the purpose in the two-way purpose, like clean the environment and also ultimately become the feed for these cultivated prawns and fish. So this is a very prominent technology which is coming up, particularly landless farmers where land is scarce and land is not available. It can be established in indoor settings also. And this biofloc is nothing but bacteria, and the only need is we have to maintain the CN ratio, carbon nitrogen ratio, in the range of 15 to 12 to 15 to 1 ratio. Carbon should be 15 and nitrogen should be 1, so that these microbes flourish very good, and they give they clean up the environment, and they ultimately they become feed for fish. To maintain this nice CN ratio, we have to use different carbon source like wheat flour, molasses, and potato powder. Like the nitrogen source, any nitrogenous fertilizer can be there, and biofloc source can be any natural soil can have microbes, bacteria, and that soil from the natural environment can be introduced into these kind of biofloc systems. Or these days now commercial bioflocs available, we can procure them from the market. These are the one such system developed in our area in the farmer field. And aquaponic system and fish farming, coastal shrimp farming, all that, and pearl farming, also one of the potential system that one can promote. I'll just end up here, and I can take up some of the questions. And Government of India is having different schemes to promote different farming systems and different crops and different advanced techniques. And one such provision is the promotion of non-conventional energy source, like using solar panels and solar system, with which farmers are getting huge benefit for their energy use, and also the excess energy can be sold back to the government. So here I'll end up. And with these soil and water conservation and effective integrated farming systems and cropping system, we likely to get a good impact on different crops and water harvesting and water harvesting induced animal husbandry and livestock, poultry production and crop production, fish, and like that. And I'll end up here. I can take up some of the questions if available, and I'll switch over to another session, maybe a break of 5-10 minutes. And at the end, I would like to emphasize whatever we may do, maybe production system or agriculture production or economic or food production system should be our subset of our environment and nature. Means our production system and economic system should be the subset of nature and environment. It should be within the environment and nature. Nature and environment should be our prime focus for longer sustainability and productivity. If they are independent, they will lead to poor production. Yeah, thank you. We can have a break for a few minutes, then we can come back. All right, sir. Or should I continue? You have some questions on these? Quick flow through. I was just rushing through because you can understand the concepts and the phenomena and technologies, and from there you can develop or kind of you can kind of understand further from there. Yeah. Problem is nobody is to answer or nobody is to respond.
Yes, participant, you can unmute themselves. I will permission.
Acha, they are being
Yes, sir, I'm not.
muted. They
Yes,
are being muted. Okay, all
yes,
right.
yes.
Okay.
So participant, you can unmute themselves. I will permitted. Okay.
Otherwise, flow of information and the presentation was all right for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So should we
Yes, sir.
continue? Should we
Yes, sir.
continue? Should we continue
Ji,
or
sir,
give a
ji.
break?
Yes, sir. Ji, sir.
Continue, sir.
Continue. That's good. That's good. All
Sir,
right.
continue.
Okay.
Please continue.
Okay. All right.
सर को ब्रेक लेने दो ना।
इसी के पीछे
15 मिनट का ब्रेक लो सर।
हाँ।
पीछे कोई ना कोई बहुत बड़ी वजह
सर 15 मिनट का ब्रेक लो, 15 मिनट का।
इंतजार करें और बहुत गौर से हर चीज को अपने आसपास देखें। बड़ी अच्छी कहावत है।
हेलो सर।
कि बोलना पड़ रहा है।
Now it is
Normally मैंने कोशिश करता हूँ कि
4:45.
बोले, क्योंकि बोलते वक्त
Now it
कान
is
की जो
4:45.
नालियां हैं वो क्लोज हो
We will
जाती हैं,
around
बहुत नजदीक आ जाती हैं, जिसकी वजह से सुनाई
4:55 we will
कम
assemble
देती है।
back. Yeah.
कम बोले तो बहुत ज्यादा सुनेंगे।
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Should we continue then? Friends, I am audible. All right, thank you. Yeah. So in that context, now we have understood or discussed about these land degradation, soil loss, and soil and water biodiversity resources, and how we can conserve them, and what could be the technologies and farming approaches, and what sort of different integrated farming systems and technologies. All that we just rush through. And in that context, what are the importance of biodiversity and its conservation, particularly in climate changing perspectives? We will continue this. Yeah, and this biodiversity it's a simple term, but with which only all our life and production revolves around. Our existence depends on these biodiversity, and they are present in every land settings and land resources and water resources. Our biodiversity is rich, one of the rich in the globe, and see the different land settings and different features, land features. We have got different diverse bioresources called biodiversity, and that we have seen what resources, and biodiversity is very rich globally, but what we know and what is being described or studied or known to human being is very minimum only. We are continuously, scientists around the globe are continuously finding or discovering new species every year, and something around 1.7 million species have been found. That is only 5 to 10% of the world biota. Only 5 to 10% of the biodiversity is only known to the human being, and maybe another 95 to 90% are unknown, still to be explored. This exploration is a continuous process. It's going on, and in different parts of the world. And there could be 5 to 30 million remain unexplored. And this by understanding biodiversity and conserving them is very necessary for our livelihood and our food production. And leave alone, it is important for evolution. Without biodiversity, that concept of evolution or the existence of evolution may not be possible. So biodiversity is in different ranges and different contexts. It is very important, even for food production and livelihoods, and our even for existence, our own existence also. And in India, something around 45,000 species of plants, and kind of 17,000 flowering plants, and 1 lakh species of animals have been found out, are existing. And this is 5% of the world living organisms. So it's a continuous process, and we need to understand them continuously. And our country is recognized as one of the biodiverse rich country, 17 mega biodiversity countries with rich cultural diversity, and 4 biodiversity hotspots: the Eastern Himalayas and Indo-Burman, and the Western Ghats, and other Sundarbans, Andaman and Islands, Sundalands, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Sundalands. So these 4 are within our Indian territory, And otherwise, see, you can see from these pictures, it's a biodiverse country. India is also one of the biodiverse country. And we have got a rich endemic flora and fauna, and with which our agriculture production or industrial production is very convenient. The only need is we need to conserve them and effectively or productively use them. And this is here is a scene that's India's gene-rich country. This slide also emphasizes that we have got diverse species and that contribute to our food production and livelihood. Yeah, and this slide shows that forest and tree cover as a unit of biodiversity. Trees and forest species also major chunk of the forest, and very dense forest and moderately and dense forest and open forest. So India is also having got a good amount of forest cover, something around 24 or 25% of the total geographic area is under different forest covers. So that is conveniently not less than the less than the normal record, though we need to increase the forest cover. But as on today, and our forest cover is not that endangered or endangered level, though it may be varying in the different regions and different states of the country. So here it is. You can see, you can visit this forest forest survey of India's state of the forest, and they will indicate every 2 years they update the forest cover. And this is very dense forest, there's a medium dense forest, and outside the forest, trees outside the forest. And the total percentage in total geographic area and the change. So they describe different forest resources and change over every 2 years, that we can understand. And this slide is also highlighting that state of forest resources. And now these days, state of forest resources include carbon stock also, carbon stock in different forest areas and regions. So that also would help in understanding the climate change potential and climate change impacts. So what are the forest stocks in different forest resources, so with which accordingly we can manage the different forest resources and stocks. And this is a diverse biodiversity of different agriculture crops, cereals, millets, and pulses and oilseeds in Himalayan regions. And similarly, every region has got its own biodiversity. If we can analyze, and we will understand the different native varieties in their native species and their cultivated equivalent species also. So we have got different diverse crops and resources that we can farm for our food production. And these are all some of the farm animals, diverse farm animals, and these are some of the fish species. All these diverse fish species give different ecosystem services. They are present in different agro ecosystems and forest ecosystems, grassland and aquatic ecosystems. From these ecosystems and these biodiversity give different ecosystem services. मैं करूँगा So different ecosystem services, regulating, supporting, and cultural and provisioning, all that, and getting fish from the rivers and water bodies, and getting crops from the cropland, getting food crops from the cropland. As such are one of our few of the ecosystem services only. And nutrient recycling and getting food items and cultural values, all that come from biodiversity only. So we need to understand them and we need to conserve them consciously. And other than food and even the medicinal items and our food items, these even local drinks, all that made out of rich biodiverse resources. And biodiversity now gives not only food and livelihood options. They also help in farming by giving by supplying these kind of mulch materials and fibers. And kind of fodder materials and household items, broomsticks and supporters and with these stowers for firewoods, all that, or they're getting honey, all that is a beauty of or benefit of biodiversity only. And this is cultural benefit of biodiversity. This timru plant, one of the shrub is available in Himalayas, being powdered and applied in the rivers to get fish. So as it's a cultural benefit or culturally oriented festivals, fishing festivals. These are all, and these local drinks are made out of 25 herbs. These cakes are made out of 25 herbs, and they are used in distillation of local drinks. So, mean to say, biodiversity and different species support our food production and livelihoods and cultural needs and our own health system and our own existence also. Yeah. So these many benefits would highlight why do we need to conserve the biodiversity and what is the need of our biodiversity conservation and how we can conserve that we will discuss in these subsequent slides. And biodiversity makes evolution possible. Without biodiversity, our evolution process may not happen, and evolution is it's a sustaining process of this continuity of life on the globe. And about 40% of the modern medicines comes from the plants and fungi, and 95% of known plant species of the planet never have been tested for medicinal plants. Means these 40% of the medicine comes from the only 5% of the plants, and 95% of the plants have not been tested for their medicinal values. So such is the importance. And 40% medicinal comes from the only 5% of the plants, isn't it? And 80% of the 80,000 known edible plants of the planet, and only 20 species provide 90% of the global food that we have seen earlier. Also, only we have got 30,000 crop species, and only 9 species supply our 70% food needs. So we need to diversify. So means plants are the plant diversity or animal diversity are rich, on which we have got limited knowledge, though we could identify many of the species, but still we need to continue to work. And these the different disasters, like as we have seen in the previous slides or previous presentation, also climatic and natural and cultural and anthropogenic activities affect affect the biodiversity in the different landscapes and at different levels. This slide shows that the India is one of the biodiverse country, and it's also equally in the danger zone. This Conservation International have categorized the risk of this biodiversity loss maybe due to anthropogenic activities. So this red color indicates a very high risk index. We are likely to lose a majority of the biodiversity and water resources and other fish and birds, plants. So this red, India is also in that same category. So, so what is required is consciously we have to manage our resources and biodiversity through different approaches and concepts and technologies. Particularly in this context of climate change. Climate change also affects our biodiversity very badly. Temperature rise, because temperature rise and climate change alters the hydrological cycles, weather events, and water availability, riverine ecosystems, and drainage lines, and causes habitat fragmentations. Temperature rise causes shifting of species, particularly in Himalayas and Alps. The tree line is continuously moving upward towards higher ranges. And then their entire breeding cycles and kind of this flourishing condition, their growth condition changes with which this forest and associated biodiversity gets affected. So species also changing their habitats, and particularly tree lines are kept moving. And similarly in aquatic ecosystem and riverines also, fish gets changing their habitats. This warmer species move to colder species like that because of the change in the temperature regime. All that affects the species distribution and their diversity and abundance, which affects invariably our food production systems and livelihood options. And change in timings of biological and physiological activities, particularly breeding patterns and population features. If these biodiversity composition and their habitat changed, invariably it would affect their breeding patterns and population dynamics and species composition, all that. And prey-predator relationship also, because their breeding timing and availability of different species changes, and accordingly their prey-predator relationship would also be affected, affecting the ecosystem structures and functions and productivity. So that we need to understand, and accordingly we have to reduce the impacts of climate, and as such we have to reduce the change in water quality and emergence of fish diseases and loss of fish production potential also possible out of climate change. And along with climate change, there are many other anthropogenic activities that put pressure on biodiversity and biodiverse resources, like unplanned road construction, forest fires and destruction of forests, and unscientific fishing and sand mining, and different forms of rituals, and the impacts of exotics, the introduction of exotics without much assessment, all that cause biodiversity loss, and we have to understand them and regulate them. And for example, this cultural ceremonial fishing affect these important fish species, like these master Sampelas armatus, Sisothorax. These are all very good and rich, or very valuable, ecologically and economically valuable fish species. They are all getting endangered because of these kind of activities. So we have to understand them. We have to dissuade or convince the stakeholders and farmers and fishermen not to do these. And not only these fish, and also many different aquatic organisms, including fish, different insects and other aquatic organisms. They are all important players of ecosystem, aquatic ecosystem. They get damaged. So we have to discourage, and not only biodiversity, and also water quality gets affected, and with the impaired water quality would invariably again affect the water biodiversity also. This many fish biodiversity and aquatic organisms are damaged by this kind of fishing festivals that we have to discourage. And as I said, that economic growth and increased resource use or changed resource use and land use changes affect or cause climate change, and that leads to land use changes, and again affects fish distribution change, and ultimately all these affect biodiversity loss. So we have to mind our economic growth. So economic growth should not lead to land degradation and biodiversity loss. And similarly, this climate change and land use changes should not affect our biodiversity. We have to have a planning on that. And for that, we have to, again, even for biodiversity conservation, we have to have appropriate soil and water conservation measures, maybe through appropriate bioengineering measures like trenching, terracing, and contour bunding, all bioengineering measures, and sensible road constructions, and landslide and riverbank erosion control measures, and afforestation and reforestation, river training, and desilting of our drainage lines, periodic desilting. On all that we have to implement, so that our resources are conserved, and at the same time biodiversity is reinstated or protected for longer use or purpose. And the nature has got its own arrangement to conserve the biodiversity. If you see in the forest settings, it will have a different strata of the forest, tree lines underneath shrubs and second story building, second story tree crops, and for the ground level vegetation like kind of ferns and other ground level crop plants. So these three-tier system of forest canopy, first ground layer grasses and soil cover ferns, moisturizes the soil and shelters the microbes biodiversity present in the soil and supports second and third layers of the forest. Similarly, the second layer against shrubs and hedges protect the both first and third layers, and third layer protects both first and second layers. So like that, the nature as such have a protective mechanism to conserve and protect the biodiversity, but our role would be to maintain their these layers of ground layer and first, second, third layers in the forest, so that their forest resources and biodiversity is maintained intact. And this I explained in other slides. And rivers and wetlands should be monitored periodically for the availability of biodiversity and their dynamics, and maybe through different mechanisms and survey tools and techniques, so that their abundance and their availability and their seasonality and their dynamics could be understood. Observed versus expected. If the observed biodiversity or species over expected is less than 1 at that species, the location and landscape or the riverine stretch is under stress. They are leading to loss of biodiversity. So we should understand, we periodically monitor, survey them, what is their abundance and the number and their category, all that. Particularly ETP, Trichoptera and Plecoptera, they again would indicate the health of the river stretch. More of these Ephemeraptera, Trichoptera, Plecoptera would indicate healthier riverine systems. So the health of the riverine system can also be understood by these understanding these insects, aquatic insects, and for understanding the health and then the productive potential, we need to monitor them periodically, maybe through different techniques. So maybe understanding their indicator species. There are some keystone species, umbrella species, foundation species, ecosystem engineers, flagship species, like that. Keystone species means they define the ecosystem. With means they are the important or key species with on which other aquatic organisms or other terrestrial or other forest ecosystem depends on or revolves around. Umbrella species means the one single species that protect or that give space for living of other species. So they were called umbrella species. On foundation species, the species which forms initial stages during succession stages, important, that creates and maintains the habitats. Ecosystem engineers, these are all aquatic engineers. So they build aquatic insects, they build their house like these. These stones are very difficult to separate. So such is their engineering capacity to build their houses. So these engineering they are all called ecosystem engineers. They build up the local ecosystems and wherein the different aquatic biodiversity or terrestrial or forest biodiversity revolves or builds around. So we have to understand those species, the different species, and flagship species means important species for a given region or location. Marshir is an important flagship species, fish species for this Uttarakhand state. So like that, this important species should be identified and should be brought into conservation menu or conservation platform, so that they are conserved for longer term, longer benefit. And this we have seen these epiphytes, and these are all it looks simple stones, but they are with lots of millions of epiphytes, and they support these macro insects, and again these insects support aquatic fish biomass and fish biodiversity, and that support our food production system and livelihood avenues. So we need to understand these epiphytes and phytoplankton, zooplankton, irrespective of their lower strata in the taxonomy. They may be in in the lower strata in the taxonomy, but they are having innumerable or very immense value that we need to understand and we need to conserve them. And we need to, as I said, we need to monitor these riverine ecosystem and forest ecosystems regularly to understand different biodiversity. As I said, if more of Placoptera, Ephemeraptera, Amphipoda, these, if they are more, and these riverine stretch or location indicates a pristine or undisturbed or unpolluted riverine stretch. If they are this oligochaete or diphtheria, they are more, and pollution level and pollution range and the health of the riverine stretch is poor, and they are very polluted. So pollution level and health condition of the riverine ecosystem can also be known from these kind of aquatic organisms, and for which we periodically understand, survey these watersheds and identify the more stressful riverine stretches or forest stretches. So accordingly, we can implement our soil conservation and water conservation measures. So for which we have to prioritize the watersheds, sensitive watersheds, maybe through different techniques, that understanding their slopes and watershed features, soil conditions, water availability, and drainage conditions, all that, and population features, human population, livestock population, and their behavior. Accordingly, we can prioritize watersheds. Then there we can implement our soil and water conservation measures for maintaining biodiversity and continuing our food production and agriculture production systems and productive activities. And for which the challenges, there are number of challenges, as I said, even for land degradation and biodiversity conservation also we have got challenges. Particularly these lower taxonomic organisms are less commercial in value, but they may have more ecological values, are often ignored, but we have to understand and we have to give more ecological values, and while assessing for their economic values, and we should give more ecological values also. Accordingly, their economic value should be improved and increased, so that they should be also brought into conservation network, conservation net. And climate change and upward movement of tree lines on altered biodiversity composition, all that this climate dependent or climate impact based biodiversity changes also big challenges, because now we had a different we had a set of biodiversity in different landscapes, and now they are having different changed, altered habitats and biodiversity dynamics, but we are not having a proper understanding those changes. Our research and academic network is not that able to cope up with these extensive network of biodiversity places or resources, and for which we are calling for coordination of different organizations like BSI, ZSI, FSI, Forest Survey of India, Fisheries Survey of India, and Himalayan Geology Institute, these Wildlife Institute, and different ICR Institute. So we have, and the local academia can have synergy and can partner them to understand the local biodiversity and the changes over time, so that we can manage our biodiversity. And in that context, these what you call National Biodiversity Authority has got a good network or good provision to conserve biodiversity. And one such good provision is that access and benefit sharing systems in forest and riverine ecosystem. So involving the local people to have benefit from the forest, at the same time asking them to conserve or protect the local biodiversity. And different technologies are evolving, but they are not that effectively being adopted by different stakeholders. In that context, only our institute and our other ICR institutes and academy are working towards increasing awareness on creating importance on biodiversity and mechanisms or means of conserving them. So, and one such means and mechanism could be that we need to promote local vets and para vets, because the local population can be trained as a para vets and para fish and para taxonomies, so that they can identify the local species that are in danger and can be put to conservation with the help of national agencies and developmental agencies, and for which we may recruit para experts locally, particularly local people, little graduates, so that they can help in our biodiversity conservation activities. And research, of course, research in unexplored areas should be continued, particularly upstream and downstream linkages and interactions, all that. And we have to identify and prioritize the stretches, so that categorically we can go for restoration process. We cannot implement blindly our restoration process, because it costs, it involves money and time, and we have to prioritize the stretches, and we can implement our different management strategies. And of course, reforestation, afforestation, and ranching of fish and stocking of suitable fishes in the forests and river courses. Ranching means introduction of fish in the rivers and lakes and tanks where this fish population is endangered or lost, maybe due to different anthropogenic activities or over exploitation. So that we call ranching. And we have to maintain the environmental flows, record environmental flows in the riverine stretches, and application of modern techniques and technologies also should be brought into conservation arena, and use of different decision support systems. And first we have to identify the biodiversity and their dynamics and document them. Then we have to create a kind of we have to put them in the JS platform, so that we can evolve a suitable decision support system and monitor them. And we have to understand the traditional knowledge and indigenous system or indigenous knowledge also in conserving biodiversity, because the indigenous population, they have been working, they have been exploiting these resources since time immemorial. So they are aware of their behavior and their resource pattern. So we can understand the local knowledge, and we can complement this tradition or modern scientific knowledge with the traditional knowledge, so that we can conserve our biodiversity suitably and effectively. And I'll yeah. Access benefit systems, that national biodiversity, it is being promoted by National Biodiversity Authority and state biodiversity authorities, and state biodiversity boards, and local biodiversity monitoring committees. These local biodiversity monitoring committees at local level or panchayat level is drawn from the local experts, or kind of local farmers, are the one who is having little knowledge on the biodiversity. They are formed into a committee or group. They identify the local biodiversity, and they establish a people's biodiversity register. So it's one good initiative taken by Government of India in line with this Biodiversity Conservation Act. Promulgated in 2002, and based on this act, under this umbrella of this act, this PBR is being prepared at the country level, and some states and some regions and some panchayats have made good PPRs of people's biodiversity registers that includes local biodiversity, including the forests and crops and aquatic organisms in that register. And so their status and the things also known from these people's biodiversity registers, and it helps in exploitation appropriately. So with these register, they impose some tax on the exploiting industries also. So they get back some benefit from the industries which are depending on the biodiversity or forest resources or aquatic resources. So this one good mechanism being established at national level, so with the under the umbrella of National Biodiversity Authority, and but it is not progressed equally well in all the states, but some states have fairly done good, and we have to wait and see in coming years and days. and we have to we have to bother about green GDP instead of economic GDP. Because green cover and associated biodiversity is very necessary for our food production and livelihoods, that we need to understand and we need to conserve them, and for which we have got a series of laws and acts like different Biodiversity Act, 2002, Environmental Protection Act, Forest Act, Wildlife Act. There are a number of acts and laws available in our country, but the only thing is how far or how best we implement them, because fish and forests are little valued more, but aquatic organisms and fish and all valued less. What fish, and let it go like that. Our attitudes and behavioral pattern is very discouraging only. So we have to understand that importance of different biodiversity and their role in our ecosystem sustenance and health, and ultimately food production systems and livelihoods and our own existence. So we have to follow these rules and regulations, and to help conserve biodiversity. There are a number of acts, including wetland conservation rules and kind of Birds Protection Act, all that. And similarly, there are different agencies and policies also, action plans also functioning. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Yeah, so we need to understand the taxonomic needs, not only higher economic valued species only to be conserved, and we have to conserve the or the whole range of taxonomic groups. So for which we need to increase the resources, and particularly the para-taxonomies, and the different agencies are working on creating awareness and sensitizing the stakeholders. But taxonomies are now becoming rare. Our SDSI and BSI and FSI and forest institutions are now working on to create a pool of taxonomies, maybe through different trainings. So we have to understand the recognizable taxonomic units, right, which may include the lower taxonomic groups with lesser economic values, but they may have a higher ecological or environmental values. So People's Biodiversity Register is one good approach that is coming up, and database we have to create a biodiversity logger register, so that we can maintain and monitor regularly what was earlier and what is now and what would be the future, so that what would be our future of food production systems and livelihood options that would be available for our human beings. So these are I just covered, and so we need to understand taxonomic groups and monitor and conserve them, and with which for which our institute is partnering with these Uttarakhand biodiversity boards in understanding the rainfed rivers biodiversity and their conservation, and to which I am one of the board member, expert member for biodiversity conservation. And other than that, our institute is taking a lot of initiatives on save soil campaign, save soil water conservation technologies, and through different schemes and programs and different seminars and conferences and sensitization programs every now and then. And our institute has developed a couple of many different conservation production technologies, including fisheries also. And these I have highlighted fisheries related technologies and concepts that have been evolved at this institute, because I am with that background, and different integrated farming system and success stories are being shared to different stakeholders so that they understand the importance of biodiversity and production systems, and they continue to exploit them sensibly. And like these are many different scientists on different commodities, agriculture and horticulture and forest scientists are working on different arena, and they develop different technologies at our institute, and that being communicated or demonstrated to the farming communities and other stakeholders. At the end, I would just highlight that we need to understand the ecosystem components in any settings, maybe forest or aquatic ecosystem, and their components and their dynamics and their the flow should be understood, and every ecosystem depends on these primary production only. The energy flow starts from the primary production. So we need to understand their prey-predator relationship and their behavior, and accordingly we have to put our management efforts so that we continue to maintain our resources, and we don't get into over exploitation and endanger our resources. Yeah, thank you. I'll end up here, and I can take up some of the questions for both the sessions if you are having any doubt, because this was a very fast fast flow, and if you have picked up something, if you have any doubt, I can clarify. Yeah, please. Thank you. I'll end up here. Yeah. Now the flow, platform is open to questions. You can ask, at least every one of you should raise one question. So this was a fast flow of information, and something you would have missed or something you would not have understood, and we can discuss on those lines. I'm more than happy to answer all of your queries if I am confident. Yeah. So anybody has got any questions? I hope the session was a little useful for you. You could get some information.
So participants, no any question, you can propose the vote of thanks.
Okay.
Roll number 3.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, sir. I am Dr. Tambe Sudhir, DJ College Ale, Taluka Junna, District Pune. First of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude toward UGC and Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, Sambhajinagar, for the available of the refresher course in EVS Sustainable Development on the very first day, and in the afternoon session of this course, I got the opportunity to express the vote of thanks, and I am firstly thankful for the same. Now I am express my gratitude to thank toward the Dr. and Professor Muruganandan sir deliver the lecture on the topic the soil water conservation and management, and also biodiversity and conservation. This lecture was a very resourceful and informative, and this content will be very useful for our futuristic development. And in this lecture, he expressed a natural resource, environment, soil, water, mineral biodiversification, water status in world, the challenges of environment, disaster management, land degradation, soil erosion status in India, land degradation and water management, ecosystem services, topographic information, slope, soil quality, biodiversification, and drainage line like a first, second, third order stream, biodiversification, demographic and water quality information, conservation techniques, and growing the agriculture production and growing the population and urbanization is the effect of environmental degradation, integrated farming systems. Also, many points are sir, our explanation in this lecture. Also the sir is explain the biodiversification and conservation, forest resource, ecosystem services, social cultural benefited, why the diversity, conservation, climatic change, and in impact on diversification and production, anthropology's activities, soil and water conservation and measurement, biodiversity management and conservation, river health assessment, challenges of biodiversity, and biodiversity world life, and investment of laws. So, sir, very helpful and knowledgeable lecture deliver this session. Once again, I would like to be thank him now. Take on the opportunity of express the special thank to UGC Malviya Mission Teaching Training Center Director, Professor Dr. Satish Patil, Course Coordinator, and all the management teams, and supporting the technical and all other staff for organizing and this wonderful session. Organize this wonderful session at least, but not least. I would like to give a special thank to all participants for all over India. Now I would like conclude this session with the permission of director and assistant director. I take leave. We will meet tomorrow for the next session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hello, sir. Thank you. Hello.
Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all for.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Very nice session, sir. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Very nice.
Thank you, sir, for this fruitful session.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Very good. So you are all from different parts of the country or Maharashtra only?
Thank you, sir.
Different
All of
parts, different parts, sir.
Oh, good.
different India.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. I too enjoyed talking to you and wish you happy, productive and fruitful training ahead. Yeah.
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir.